And Matt, as her role of patron of the Scouts, just explain a little bit to us about the significance of that and what it meant to the organisation.
I mean, Her Majesty the Queen's contribution to Scouting was massive. You know, she gave her name to the highest award that our young people can achieve in Scouting, the Queen's Scout Award, and she took a deep and personal interest in recognising and celebrating the achievements of young people and adult volunteers. You know, every year she would open up her private parts of Windsor Castle in the grounds. We'd go into the quadrangle, and she would meet and review thousands of young people who had achieved that award. She'd spend time with young people and adults who were in very difficult circumstances or who did something very brave, you know, save people's lives. And I think, you know, the guiding views of Scouting, you know, integrity, belief, cooperation, she personified all of those things. And her example to the millions and millions of young people and adults who will have been Scouting during her reign was one of service, was one of commitment, and also one of, you know, keeping things going. Everybody has talked about how she's been a constant in our lives for a very, very long time, and our commitment to serve our communities is the same and was very well modelled by Her Majesty.
And meeting those young people, it must have had a real effect on them and a lasting memory and something to take forward in their lives.
Yeah, and you know, I was very lucky to have met the Queen a few times and to be able to introduce her to young people and adults, and she would take genuine interest in them, in their lives and in their stories. And, you know, when you see Her Majesty walking towards you, your heart races, you feel so proud and excited and a little bit nervous. But every time I had the privilege to meet Her Majesty, she put me at ease straight away. She'd ask, you know, how are you? Where are you from? And then I would introduce her to maybe a dozen young people and adults. And she would take time to personalise and to connect with each and every single one of those people. And sometimes it was really difficult to move her on to the next person. She'd just give you that look, just to say, oh, I'm not quite finished yet, thank you. But she'd carry on talking, and she would remember. So I met her in Nottingham when she came up during one of the celebrations, and you know, I said, well, hello, Your Majesty, very good to see you. And then when I saw her in Windsor, I said, you know, Matt, I met you in Nottingham. And she said, of course. And I'm sure she couldn't remember. I'm sure she didn't. But she had the grace to put me at ease to say, of course, I remember I got the train to Nottingham. And, you know, this was a few years later.
And people have talked about that, haven't they, about the significance of the fact that the Queen put people at their ease. And that is something we've heard time and time again on the programme over the last few days. Listen, both of you, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts and your memories with us. You heard there from Matt Rooney, who's Vice President of Nottingham Scouts, and we also heard earlier on from Bill Lambert, who's Head of Health and Welfare at the Kennel Club.